Boker Tov. Today's daf is daf Lamed Gimel Baba Kama, as we learn again for Achinu Kol Beis Yisrael and Asim Batzar Shivya. Everybody may be healed and return home safely. Tanur Rabbanim. We're about 10 lines down on the page at the two dots. In those days, they didn't have direct deposit on payroll, so you had to come and collect the money from your from the boss. And he wasn't in town; he wasn't down at the warehouse, and they hadn't been paid. So they come to demand their pay from the balabais, and they came to his home. They entered his home or his chatzer, whatever he had there, or his farm. And when they came in there, the ox of the balabais gored them, or the dog bit them. Sometimes you go to people's homes and there's a dog, keeping you away. Watchdogs, whatever you call them. Umace. Now, either the dog bit him and he died, or the ox gored him and he died. So potter, the balabais is potter, because the argument is that they had no business coming to his home without permission. Rashi says right away, though, the balabais is potter, but the dog, or the animal, the ox that gored him is killed. The skila, as the Gemara mentioned back on Daf Chaf Gimel Amid Beis. The animal is judged and killed, but the balabais is potter. Others say, some say that's Rav Meir Shapiro. No, they're entitled to come in there, and therefore, if any damage was done, so when we say potter balabais, if he was killed, it means you're potter from kofar. You don't have to pay if your animal killed somebody. You have to pay normally ransom, what we call kofar. In English, it's translated as ransom. It means payment for what the man was worth to his family. Presumably, if you're potter, that means you're also potter from damages. However, if they were just gored and they didn't die, so then the animal wouldn't be killed, and would there be nezek? A chor nezek there would be, even if it's an accident. But are the argument can be paid? You have no business in my property. But acher moment, they're entitled to it, and therefore the balabais would be killed, would be responsible either for damages if they were hurt, or for kofar if they were killed. So the Gemara says, I understand, what's the machlokas? If the balabais normally is at his office, or his office wherever he is in town, where he's normally the place of work, why do Acherim say they're entitled to come to your home? You're not entitled. If you work for a boss and he has an office, so go to his office. What are you going to his house for? If he's only at home and he doesn't come to the office, so my time is to come. Why is that to come and say that they're not entitled? If he hadn't paid them and they didn't deposit, the boss didn't put the money into their bank account, why aren't they entitled to come to his house? He never shows up at work. Sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. Sometimes he comes, sometimes he's not. So what happened here is there's different gears, but our gears simply is that both things are true here. Sometimes he comes, sometimes he's not. The Korea Baba, they knocked on the gate. Or called out to the gate. They said, we're here. Bambalu, when he said, and, yes. What does yes mean? Marsover, and ol ta. Yes, come up and come in. Enter. That's what it means. Come in, that's what Acher Momer means, that they're entitled to come in. So therefore, the balabais will be responsible for any damages. Right? And means to ol ta mashma. It means to come in. That's what it sounds like. Yes means enter. Marsover, and just means yes, it just means yes, what can I help you with, but doesn't mean that you can come in. That's the machlokas over here. So the Tanakama says, stay where you are. And therefore, you have no business coming in, therefore he's potter, even though the animal would be killed, because the animal's not supposed to kill anybody. Just because a man comes into your property and I'll take a gun and shoot him. So the same way an animal can't kill anybody, but that the owner should be responsible if the owner didn't let him in and he came in, basically trespassed. Then he's potter. Tanya commander and kumaduchtach mashma. Pardon.
According to the Acherim, why does he have to say yes?
Because he did. So again, this gets into Shiloh. Did he say yes or didn't say yes? Some say the shchich below shchich, even if he didn't say yes. But the girsa we have is that sometimes he comes, sometimes he doesn't come, and he said yes. Because still, you're not just to barge into somebody's house. So he said yes means like come on in. Therefore responsible. If you didn't say come in, doesn't just because I don't answer the door doesn't mean you can come into my house. You better wait. Sometime wait till I get to town. That's the idea here. I guess the assumption of the Gemara is that if he never shows up in town, then they could even barge in, right? Because they're saying if sometimes there's something he's not okay, but you knocked on the door, you couldn't reach him, and if he said yes, according to Acher, means come in. But the Tanakama says no. Yes just means stay where you are. What can I help you with? The Tanya, we have a brisa like the one who says stay where you are. The Tanya, the worker came in to demand his pay from the Baal Bais. Potter. The owner is Potter. Potter again. If he killed him for kofar, presumably Potter. If it were damages, you trespassed into my property. Even if he came in with rishus, what does that mean? Am I Potter's? Why is he Potter came with rishus? Elav the karya above barmalain means this. He says, don't come in. In other words, he says, it says here, Potter. Even though he came with permission, why would he be Potter there? The answer is he didn't really come with permission. He said, he knocked on the door, and the guy said, yes, but yes means stay where you are, don't come in. What can I help you with? All right, so that's that case. That's the question really, what does it mean? Of course, the guy's entitled to get paid, but what are the circumstances and what is he entitled to do? What is he not entitled to do? He's entitled to still to get demand his paycheck, even if he was killed or damaged. His paycheck he's still entitled to. Now we learned that a short Tom was not convicted yet of goring 3 times, of damaging 3 times out of the ordinary. That's called a Tom. And a Tom only pays Chatzi Nezek, half. We said Chatzi Nezek is Knas, if remote Knas is Potter, etc. But he pays Chatzi Nezek. So 2 animals were both Tamim, and they both damaged one another. 2 animals had a fight, and they both, he says oxen, it could be any animals, but Shechavuz Eseb, Misham Moser Chatzi Nezek. So what happens is this: how do you pay? If they both damage one another, both animals are upgeshats. They're both assessed to what the damages are. Now, if they're both damaged the same amount, they each have, let's say, $25 worth of damage done to them, call it even and go home, right? What's the point of me paying you? If the damage was $25, you'd pay $12.50. But what's the difference we each pay? But here there is a difference. There is a difference. One was damaged for more. So whoever damaged more, the difference, you pay the difference. Let's say one was damaged to the tune of $50. One was damaged to the tune of $30. So the difference is that the one who caused the $50 damage, but he was also damaged to the tune of $30, so he has to pay $20, the difference. But he doesn't pay $20, he pays half. Chatzi Nezek, because the Tam pays Chatzi Nezek. So he pays, they pay the difference in the damage of Chatzi Nezek. Shema, if they're both muad, that means they pay the full. Misham and B'moser Nezek Shalim. They pay the full amount of the difference. Again, if there are 2 goring animals, and one did damage of 50, one did damage of 30, so you pay the full $20. Let's say one is tam was a muad. Muad b'tam, if the muad did more damage to the tam than the tam to the muad, so he pays that difference again. Misham b'moser nezek shalom, because muad pays nezek shalom. Tam b'muad, if the tam did more damage than the muad, so the tam owes more than the muad owes. So whatever the difference is, Misham b'moser pay difference Chatzi Nezek, because the tam pays Chatzi Nezek. 2 men who hurt one another. Shechavuz said that 2 people got into a fight and they hurt one another. So what do you pay? You pay the difference. One had damages of $1,000, one had damages of $800. So the one who did more damage, he has to pay the $200, the difference. Pay the difference. Let's say an animal and a person had a fight, right? You fought somebody's dog or whatever it was. Again, they both pay Mishal B'Moshe Nezek Shalom. Whoever had more damage, you pay Nezek Shalom. Okay. Adam B'tam Ba'adam. Now, we're not talking about a person doing damage to another person, because then you have Nezek Sari B'Shavas and Boshes also. Not just the Nezek, you pay the Sari B'Shavas and Boshes. Let's say Adam B'tam Ba'adam. What happens if a person hurt an animal that's a tam that has not gored 3 times and proven so in court, or tam Ba'adam? Again, Adam B'tam Mishal B'Moshe. The difference. If the man did more damage to the animal than the animal to the person, so the difference is, let's say the difference is $200, he pays the full $200 to the owner of the animal. Tam ba'adam, if a tam did more damage than the person, so again he pays the $200, but doesn't pay, he pays Chatzi Nezek because he's a tam. Rabbi Kiva disagrees in this one case. Kiva Omer af tam shechava ba'adam misham b'moser nezek shalom. Even though he's a tam, But the difference is that a tam pays chatzin nezek when he does damage to your property, to your animal, to whatever, your car, whatever he did. But if he hurt your person, pays nezek shalom. Why? He's still a tam. So the Gemara is going to explain right away. It's based on a pasuk. Pasuk says, "Tana Rabbanan kamishbet hazeh yasolo." Right? It says here, "Oben yigach o bas yigach," in pasuk lamed aleph from there chafal of Shmos. Oben yigach o bas yigach. If an animal damages a person, ben or bat, whatever, kamishbet hazeh yasolo. What does kamishbet hazeh mean? So does kamishbet hazeh mean like the topic we were just discussing, which was a shor nagach? The previous psukim talked about if he's a shor nagach, which meaning he's a mu'ay, then he has to pay the full amount. And then it says, meaning even if he's a tam, says Rav Akiva, he still pays kamishbet hazeh. Tanabani kamishbet hazeh yasolo, kamishbet shor b'shor, just like a shor b'shor, if a shor damages, he pays nesek shalom. Kach mishbet shor ba'adam, he also pays the full amount, even if he's a tam. Mashor b'shor tam mishalem chatzin nezek, mur mishalem nezek shalom. Well, this is not the Tana of, this is the first Tana, not Rav Akiva. The first Tana, it says kamishbet hazeh yasolo, kamishbet shor b'shor, just like a shor damages or kamishbet shor ba'adam. Mashor b'shor tam mishalem chatzin, just like a shor damages another shor, tam pays chatzin nezek, umur mishalem nezek shalom. Af shor ba'adam tam mishalem chatzin nezek, umur mishalem nezek. This is not Rav Akiva shita. This is the Tanakama of our Mishnah, that a tam always pays chatzin nezek, whether he damaged a person, whether he damaged your possession, your animal, damaged your car, pays chatzin nezek no matter what. Why? Kamishbet hazeh means just like a shore damages a shore, you follow the rules that tam pays chatzin nezek and mu'ay pays nezek shalom. The same thing if a shore damages a person. That's what we mean by when the pasuk says kamishbet hazeh yasolo, just like a shore damages the shore. If a shore damages a person, the same rules apply of tam versus mu'ay. Rabbi Kiva Omer, we're in the second of the wide lines on Lamed Gimel Meral. Rabbi Kiva Omer, kamishbet hazeh ketachton below elyon. Not the general category of shore damaging the shore, but the thing we just left off. First, we talked about if a shore is if a shore is a tam, that he only pays chatzin nezek, right? Then the psukim right before we talked about kenishbet hazeh yasolo ben yigach o bas yigach, it says over there shor nagachu mitmal shosham. They were talking about a shor mu'ay. So he says, you know what? The rule of a shore, any shore damaging a person is just like a shor mu'ay. Rabbi Kiva Omer kamishbet hazeh ketachton, like this last thing is the lower psukim that we were talking about, the lower laws that we're talking about, the one we just left off with, the most recent ones, and not the ones that were learned up above. The earlier passage was talking about a tam. So Bekiva says commissioner, that means the one we just left off with, the one we were talking about a shore. So if a shore mu'ay, so if a shore, any shore which damages a person, the rules of shore mu'ay apply to him, even if he's not a mu'ay, even if he's a tam. Wait a minute. If that's the case, if you say that a shor tam that damages a person pays nezek shalem like a mu'ay, maybe you should also pay from all the assets of the owner of the shore. Not just from the guf tam lomer yasolo to him, to the animal. Migufa misham misham menali. Pay only from the guf. So again, according to Bekiva, a shor tam that damages a person pays nezek shalem based upon kamishbet hazeh. Right, kamishbet hazeh, this like the one we just left off with, but still he pays from all the assets of the owner, not like not all the assets of the owner, but rather he still only pays like a short time, only from the guf. So a short time that damages a person it's like a hybrid. He pays chatzin nezek he pays for nezek shalem because the rule said kamishbet hazeh is like a shor mu'ay, but he still only pays out of the guf of the animal, because he's in a sense he's still a tam, so he pays yesalo to him, to the animal, from the guf of the animal. But Rabbanan zelamali, if the Rabbanan say no, that kamishbet hazeh means like kamishbet, like the general rule of shore, that there's a difference between tam and mu'ay, this whether he damages a property, the same rules apply whether he damages a person, that a tam pays chatzin nezek and a mu'ay pays nezek shalom. Rabbanan zelamali, what does he do with zeh? Tell me that you don't have to pay kamishbet hazeh, meaning he only pays like an animal. He doesn't pay like a like a person. A person pays the Arvid Varim, Sari, Pushevis, and Boshes, whereas an animal doesn't. So he says, you know what, kazeh, like an animal, and not like a person. Rabbi Kiva lepotim Arvid Varim minole. How does Rabbi Kiva know that you're potter from Arvid Varim? Rabbi Kiva uses zeh to teach me what? Right, Kevin say kazeh to teach me that if an animal damages a person, he has a rule of a mu'ed no matter what. So how does Rabbi Kiva know this idea that an animal that damages a person doesn't pay Sari, Pushevis, and Boshes that apply to a person? Now, the Pasuk Vayikra says, if a man damages another person, then Shein Shachashain, Ayin Tachasayin, etc., all the rules apply. But otherwise not. Ishma Miso, Lo Shorba Miso. You don't have to pay, if a shore does a damage to a person, he only pays nezek, what the damage is, meaning what the depreciation of the person is, and not the other things. Rabbanan, why do I need both? So for email, you have a minute from the pasuk of Ishkid Miso, I would say lo shorba misa. Maybe there he's just telling you don't have to pay for tsar, because tsar is not really a financial loss. You're paying for somebody's psychological damage that he's been hurt, but he didn't really lose anything. He didn't lose any money. Avol ripoy v'shefes, but his medical bills and his time off from work, where it's a real loss of money. He has to pay for medicine and doctors and hospitals, and he loses his paycheck. I think you have to give him that. Kamash Zeh teaches me that an animal, even if he damages a person, still only pays nezek. He doesn't pay ripu, shevis, and boshes. Okay, so here we have this machlokas. Basic idea of the machlokas here is between Rav Kiva and Rabbanan about a short tam that damages a person. Does he have a rule of a tam totally, like the Rabbanan, that he still only pays chatzi nezek and out of the guf? And Rabbi Kiva says no, he pays nezek sholem based on the pasuk, and he pays out of the guf, still pays out of the guf, but he pays nezek sholem. And everybody agrees though that you don't pay sari b'shevs and boshes. Now let's take a real example financially. Let's look at it. Shor shevamana. Let's say the shore that's doing the damage, and again, shore can be any kind of an animal, but if we're talking about generally talk about a shore, an ox, he's worth $100. The mazik, that's the animal that's doing the damage, is worth $100. And he gored an animal that's worth $200, killed another animal. Take a simple case, the nevela, the nisik's animal now that's dead is not worth anything. We're not talking about a case where it's still worth 10%. You can sell the meat. Say the whole thing is gone. It's all decomposed, whatever. It's not worth anything. No teles ashore. So what does the nizik get? The mazik's animal is worth the animal that's mazik is worth $100, right? The nizik's animal is worth $200. So how much damage did the mazik do? 200. He killed it. The animals are worth nothing, but he only pays chatzi nezek, right? So chatzi nezek is how much? 100, and that's what the whole animal's worth. So the nizik takes the whole animal. Does he take the animal itself, or does he take the $100? That's the machlokas here. Masnisa and money Rabbi Kiva. Our mission goes like Rabbi Kiva to Tanya. Yusha mashor bebezin to Rabbi Shmuel says that the surviving shore, that means the mazik, is assessed in court, and whatever he owes, you pay. Let's say the animal was worth $100, and in this case, he did damage of $100. So the mazik, the owner, has to pay $100. Why? Because the damage was 200. The shore that did the damage, is a tam. Tam pays chatzi nezek. Half of 200 is 100, but that's exactly what the mazik's animal is worth. So that Rabbi Shmuel says, okay, you owe $100. Rabbi Kiva says, no. The shore itself is transferred. The nizik, the one who was damaged, the one who lost his animal, he actually takes the shore, because the shore is worth $100. That's what it's worth. Now, if a shore wouldn't be worth $100, let's say it's worth more, or like, so you split it, but you pay it out of the go for the animal. Pardon? To pay? Okay, so that's the question. That's the question over here. According to Rabbi Shmuel, the mazik has his option. He's assessed in court. According to Rabbi Kiva, no, the animal itself, in this case, where it's worth exactly that, or if it's worth less, because that's all he's going to get. Let's say the animal's only worth $75. He did $200 worth of damage. He owes $100 because the animal's a tam, but he only is worth $75. Takes the animal. According to Rabbi Kiva, the animal now belongs to the nizik automatically. That's the point. Okay, that's the machlok. What's machlok? So Bishmol Savar Bal Chobu. No, the mazik, meaning the owner of the animal, the mazik, he owes that money. Zuzi the mazik. He the nizik is only owed money, whatever the value was. If the animal's value was $100 and that was half of the damage, so he owes him $100, but he doesn't actually owe him the animal. They are now partners in this animal. As we said before, let's say the mazik was worth more, right? Let's say the mazik's animal is also worth 200. So, and he only owes $100, right? So what do? You take the animal, you sell it, and you split the difference. But he takes a share out of what the animal's worth. But in this case, where it's worth exactly half or less than half, just gets the animal. So that's what Bekiva says. They are now partners in the animal. So the nizik owns the animal too. In this case, the nizik owns the whole animal because there's nothing left for the mazik there. They argue about this pasuk. The pasuk says, right? You sell the animal. Right? You sell the animal and you split the money. Rashi says, "B'chigav shor shor isha shor yehu ma'asu machra shor achai v'chatzos kas v'gam ha'meisi achatzun." Interesting that the pasuk here is really afterwards, right? We have to check into this because the where do we have the pasuk before we talk pasuk lamed aleph? And that was right after the shore that we talked about before, after the shore mu'ed. It seems here that the pasuk about shore tam that's actually later, and thus there's another pasuk talking about the shore tam before. But this pasuk anyway, it says v'chigov shore ish shor yevameis u'machras ashor achai v'chatzuas kasva v'gamas hameis yachatzun. Right? They split the difference, meaning that the nizik also loses the depreciation of the nevela of his dead animal, the nizik. Between the time that it was damaged till the time that it was sold or whatever, sold for whatever you can get. But the point here is, it says, Machras Ashor Achai B'Chatzu Kaspo. That's what the pasuk is. Machras Ashor Achai B'Chatzu Kaspo. V'Shmuel Savar Lebeidinikum Mitzarach Manav. Hashem is warning the Bezin. Bezin should sell it. Bezin should sell it. In other words, make sure that you supervise the selling and make sure that the nizik is paid half the money. But basically the mazik owes him that money. Doesn't own the animal per se. Hashem is talking to the mazik himself. You guys now own the animal. The animal, this guy killed the nizik's animal, and the mazik's animal is alive. Now you're partners in that animal, and the nizik owns up to half. Up to whatever the damages are. He's entitled to, let's say, $100. If the damage was $200, that's taken out of the animal itself. If that's all the animal's worth, he owns the whole animal. My bina, where's the difference between this? Here's a nafkamina. According to Bekiva, the nizik owns the animal. According to Bishmal, it doesn't own the animal, he owes him the money. Difference is ikdish and nizik. Let's say the nizik was makdish the animal now. According to Rabbi Kiva, that would be a good hekdesh because he owns the animal. As soon as it happened, as soon as it was at least it was adjudicated and it was determined that he did this damage, he owns the animal. According to Rabbi Shmuel, he doesn't own the animal. But Rabbi Nachman, machru mazik. Let's say, according to Rabbi Shmuel, that the nizik doesn't own the animal now, but the animal is basically mortgaged to pay off the $100, right? Remember, he has to pay. The damage was $200. He owes half, $100, because that's what a short time pays. Now, according to Rabbi Kiva, the animal's worth $100. The mazik animal, the nizik owns the animal now. It's his. It's his. The nizik could be makdish the animal. According to Rishon, he doesn't owe the animal, but the animal's still obligated as mortgage to that to pay off that debt. If the mazik has no other money to pay him, he has to pay him with that animal. So, if the mazik sold the animal now, according to Rabbi Shmuel, that the mazik did not lose the animal yet. He just owes the money, but it's mishubad, it's mortgage to pay off the debt for the damages. Keeping Rabbi Shmuel Balchov, since Rabbi Shmuel says the mazik simply owes the money, he's like a borrower now, right? He's a debtor. Keeping Rabbi Shmuel Balchovu, Vizuzu Demasikle, he just owes the money. So it's a good sale. I owe you $100. My animal killed your animal. I owe you $100. But if I sold the animal meantime, maybe it's a good sale. Odilma, keeping the Mishabed Leilinisik, since the animal is basically security to pay off the $100, he's not empowered to sell it. So this kasha, Rava asked Rav Nachman, And Rav Nachman answered, no, it's not sold. If the mazik sells it, it is sold. Answer is choser gaveo. It means this: it's sold, but he can go back and collect it. Meaning, it's if the mazik meanwhile sold the animal, the nizik who's owed the $100 from that animal can go and collect it from the person who purchased it, from the purchaser. Choser gaveo. If he can go and collect from him, what's the point of it being sold? L'rigya. It means this for plowing. Let's say the mocher, mocher, it was the mazik over here. He knows his animal killed this other animal, right? And he owes him the $100 because the other animal was 200. He owes him half, which is 100, and his animal, the mazik, is only worth $100. But he went and he sold that animal before. So he said, okay, well, once it's adjudicated and the bezin determines that the mazik's animal it has to be paid to the nizik. If the mazik doesn't have the $100 himself in cash, he can collect from there. So how could he sell it if he sold it before? The answer is, if he sold it, it was sold for that period of time until it was collected. So if the purchaser used the animal, let's say for plowing, and the plowing was worth $20, right? He would have had to pay $20. He doesn't have to pay for that. Is that he can't go and collect that back. He can take the animal, but the plowing was worth $20. That doesn't have to be paid. Says Leviticus says Rashi. In other words, you can't say that the nizik owns the animal right away. If you took my animal and you plowed with it, and the plowing was worth $20, like you borrowed my car for the day, right? Like a demand, you give me the $20. But over here, the purchaser bought it, and it was a valid purchase until such time that the nizik claimed it, because the nizik is like a mortgage on it. If the mazik doesn't pay him the $100, he'll go collect from the nizik.
We have a machlokas where it's the animal he pays mikufa.
That's right.
Momina.
That's right.
So if we already had this machlokas and we already
no, the machlokas is this. The machlokas there is: do you pay out of the goof of the animal in the sense that if the animal is only worth $2 and he killed an animal's worth $200, all you can collect is half up until the value of the mazik. All you can get is $2. That's it. That's what you mean that you collect out of the value of the animal. Now the machlokas is: does the animal itself automatically go to the nizik, or does the mazik own the $2? That's the question over here. Understand? But when we say you can only get from the value of the goof, that means that he's limited to what the animal's worth. He did $200 worth of damage, right? He owes him 100, but he only owes him 100 if the animal's worth 100. If the animal's worth 75 or 50 or 2, that's all you can collect. That was the idea we had for. So the Gemara says, wait a minute, Shema Mina, what he's saying, what's this case over here? The mazik owes him $100, right? Owes him $100. So he owes him the animal, and he went and sold the animal. He said, well, it's a sale. Well, is it a sale? Not a sale. Well, the nizik can go claim the animal back. So what's the point of the sale? If he worked with it, meanwhile, that's gone. That's done. So that means though that he could sell it though. He could sell it for that period of time. Shema Mino, you see here, lova, person borrows money. Umocher metaltlin. If lova umocher metaltlin. Let's say I borrowed money, and the only thing I had to pay back with was some metaltlin. All I had was a suitcase. All I owned was a suitcase, and you could have paid back the suitcase, but I sold the suitcase. Umocher metaltlin doesn't go over the man. You can collect it from here because that's what happened over here too. Effectively, the mazik owed him $100. He sold the asset that he had, the metaltlin, this animal, and then they can go collect it again from there. Normally, you find that in a loan, you can only collect from karka because the purchaser should have known about it and could have protected himself. He said, "I'm not going to buy that. I know that you had that piece of land was already mortgaged to the creditor. But when it comes to metaltlin, you can't collect metaltlin because nobody knows what the guy has. Nobody knows. It's not known. Yeah.
So it's an incentive for the mazik to delay paying the.
That's right. That's right.
Can work the animal meanwhile.
Yeah, that's right. There's an incentive for him to do that. The Bezin wouldn't allow him to do it. Once Bezin issues the verdict, he says, first you have to know did it really happen. You can argue the facts that it happened or not. Once they determine it, the nizik can go make a claim and take it away right away. I mean, the mazik can't, of course the mazik will want to delay it, but once there's a court order, can't delay it anymore. So do you see from over here that a person could borrow money, and if he sells metaltalin, Bezin can collect that metaltalin? We normally find you can only collect karka. In other words, for the balchov, the creditor can only go after somebody that purchased something from the debtor, only go after karka, because that the purchaser should have known about it. So he's not right, but not lot. So the Gemara says, "Shani awesome the commander also potkidam." It's different over here, because over here it's as if he said, "Going to collect from this animal." In other words, when it's known if the animal did damage, people know the animal did damage, and this animal is going to be collectible to the nizik. The nizik is going to collect it. Then it's okay to collect from the purchaser because he should have known about it. And as before he bought that animal, he might have heard about it, as we'll see in a second. The command also it's as if he said, "Apotek, collect from this animal." It's not a stam alone that I borrowed some money from you and then I sold my suitcase. You don't even know I have a suitcase. You can't go collect the suitcase. If you made your slave an apoteki and then you sold the slave, could collect the slave, because you said, you told the creditor, you can. I'm going to borrow the money, and you can collect. If I can't pay you back cash, you can collect the evet. And then I sold it. The balchov, the creditor can go and take the evet. But shora apotek, if I made my shore apotek, I said, listen, I'm going to borrow some money from you, and if I don't pay you back, you can collect my shore. And then I sold the shore. Ein balchov gameni cannot collect. The answer is evet. My time, but why can you collect the evet? Mishum de islay. People know evet is like karka. People know. So you made your slave a security, a mortgage for the loan. People know about it, so the purchaser could have protected himself. Hainami here also, even the nagach, since he's an animal gored, call his slave the Torah nakhanakar. People know this is a goring animal. In other words, the purchaser could have protected himself, even though yes, a shore is not like karka, and it's not like an evet. An evet is like karka too. A shore is metaltalin, it's immovable, but still, since this is different than stam shore, it's different than I borrow some money from you and I say if I don't pay you back, you'll collect my shore there. And then if I sold the shore there, how was the purchaser supposed to know that I made this? Said you're going to collect my shore? It's metaltalin. People don't know about it. An evet or karka, people know about. And this shore, though, people also know about, because a goring animal has a cold. There's a rumor about it. People know that that this animal gores, and therefore the purchaser could have protected himself from it, and therefore he has no claim, right? And therefore you can collect the shore. Tanur of Tachlifa Bar Marava. Rabbi Tachlifa Bar Marava means the son of Eretz Yisrael. Means he's from Eretz Yisrael. We are all from Marava. We're all from Eretz Yisrael, from the west. West means west of Babel. This is what he learned from Babel. Machra ain't a machra. Listen, he said an interesting thing. He said, if you sold it, it's not sold. Now, remember, what did we say before? Rabbi Kiva says that the nizik owns the animal right away, right? Nizik owns the animal right away, and he could be makdish. He could sell it. He could do whatever he wants. As soon as there's a judgment, he owns it. Whereas the Chachamim say, it's Rabbi Shmuel, right? The Mishnah said it goes. Rabbi Shmuel says no, that he owes him the money, and he can't be mocked, and therefore technically the mocher could sell it, at least temporarily. Oh, could he be makdish? So this is what they said. This is what the Rav Tachlifa from Eretz Yisrael said before Bul. Machru, if you sold it, it's not sold. Hikdishu, if you were makdish it is mukdish. Now these two things seem to be in contradiction. If you could sell it, you should be able to makdish it. If you're makdish it, you should be able to sell it. So machruman, who sold it over here? Elaim and Masik. We talk about the Masik. Machru ain't a macher. If you sold it, it's not sold. Money in Rekiva. It's like Rabbi Kiva, who says what? That the nizik owns it right away, so you can't sell it. Okay, the Amr Hochlar Ashor, the shore is automatically transferred to the nizik immediately, automatically. Vekdisha Mukdash, but if you say it's Mukdash, how can you actually say it goes like Rabbi Shmuel? Because according to Rabbi Kiva, the Mocher, the Mazik, who's the Mocher, or the Mocher, the Mazik cannot be Makdish, it's not his. So what's going on over here? Mocher and a Mocher goes like Rabbi Kiva. It says that the Mocher, the Mazik does not own it. And then he says, it goes like Rabbi Shmuel, that says that the Mazik could be Makdish. So what's going on here? The Amayusha Mashor goes like Rabbi Shmuel, says that the shore is assessed at the Bezdin. In other words, you take the value, you don't take the animal itself. Ella Nizik, maybe it means Nizik. Maybe we're talking about the person who sold it or Makdish was a Nizik. So Macher ain't a Macher, if you say that it's not sold, who is that money? Rabbi Shmuel goes like Rabbi Shmuel says that that the Nizik owns it, right? Wait a minute, right? No, Rabbi Shmuel says that he doesn't own it. The Mazik really owns it. So wait a minute. So what's going on? Ella, we say maybe the nizik was the one who sold it. So we say machar, and a machar means like that goes. Rabbi Shmuel says that the nizik has no right to sell it because he doesn't own it. It's still owned by the mazik. The mazik only owes him the money, but the nizik doesn't own it. So machar, and a machar, we sold. It's not sold. That's like Rabbi Shmuel that the nizik cannot sell it. Hikdisha mukdash, but if he's maked to the marriage, that goes like Rabbi Kiva, who says that what that it does belong to the nizik. So again, we're stuck here. One goes like Rabbi Kiva, goes like Rabbi Shmuel. So it's Melola mazik. Really, we're talking about the mazik is selling it or being makdish. And it goes like everybody. Why? Right? Like Rabbi Shmuel or like Rabbi Machar in a Machar. It's not sold. The mazik cannot sell it. Afilu Rabbi Shmuel. Why? The Mishavle and Nizik. As he can't sell it. Why? Because it means here he's saying that even Rabbi Shmuel, who says that the mazik, the Nizik doesn't own it right away, but he can't sell it, meaning in perpetuity, right? And meaning this. He says, right? He says that he can't sell it because it's meshubah to nizik. I mean, he has no right to sell it. He's no right to sell it. Rashi says, right? It means that it's not really sold. He says, machar. We're talking about the mazik selling it, and even according to Rabbi Kiva, for sure the mazik. According to Rabbi Kiva, the mazik can't sell it because the nizik owns it. Even according to Rabbi Shmuel, the mazik can't really sell it to Mashab later nizik, meaning if he sells it, the nizik's going to take it back from the purchaser. That's what it means over here. Ein machar means it's not sold in perpetuity because the nizik can claim it. That's pardon me? Oh, okay. Hikdisho mukdash. Could he be makdish? We said he could be makdish. Why? Why could he be makdish? If the mazik's makdish and it's kaddish, even what about according to Rabbi Kiva? We just said the mazik is selling it, right? The mazik is selling it and being makdish it. And we're going like everybody. Everybody agrees that it's not sold. Why? Even Rabbi Shmuel, who says that the mazik still owns it, but it's meshubah to the nizik. So if he sells it, it's going to come back. Hikdisha mukdash is mukdash, even according to Kiva, even though Rabbi Kiva says what? That who owns it? The nizik. So how could the mazik be makdish it? It means this. The mazik really is not entitled to makdish it, but if he's makdish it, you shouldn't take it out of hegdish without giving him a few pennies, without paying something for it, because people shouldn't say that hegdish, you could take something from hegdish without paying. The truth is, it's not mukdish at all. It's not mukdish. Hegdish or mukdish. Lav kodesh mamish, says Rashi, right, even with the Bach. Lav kodesh mamish, elalit and davar mu'at b'pidyon, you should pay, like a Ravu says, that says that by makdish nechosev, and you owed money, and you're makdish it, okay, you really had no right to be makdish it, Megdish doesn't own it, but the Zera, people shouldn't say you take something out of hegdish. The opinion, so you're poted, but the truth is it's not mukdish. It's not really mukdish at all.
According to Rabbi Kiva, number out to their shutafim, the mazik and the nisa.
That's right.
Isn't the rule though then if one shutaf sells something, it's sold?
Right, but over here in this case, it means that they're shutaf in the animal. So again, they're shutaf in the animal if the animal's worth more. Tomorrow's case, we'll talk about a case where the animal's worth 200. Both animals are worth 200. Here in this animal, where the mazik animal is only worth 100, and the damage was 200. So the mazik has to pay chatzin esek, which is the whole 100, or less. Let's say it's worth 99 or 75 or 50. Then they're partners, but he lost the whole thing because he has to give the nizik the whole amount. They're partners in the animal if there's something to split up, but there's nothing to split over here because they both own the animal. But in this case, the nizik has the full share because he has the mazik has to give him his share too. So you could say they're temporarily partners until it's adjudicated. But once it's adjudicated and it's worth, and he only owes his share, he just lost his share. Like they each have 50% of the animal, but he just had to give up his whole share because he owes him $100. So the nizik automatically gets the whole animal.
What point is the animal sold? At what point did they become shutafim?
Right. Yeah. It's you have to say technically until it's adjudicated in court, nothing happens. Right. So therefore the mazik can sell temporarily. But once it's adjudicated, then they are both partners, but immediately the whole thing goes to the nizik because it's only worth $100. That's what the nizik's entitled to. Tanrabanan. At the 2 dots halfway down the page. Tanrabanan. Short time she'izik. A short time the damage. Now we say Ad Shelo Amid B'Din. This answers your question, Michael. Ad Shelo B'Din, until they went to court. Machur. The mazik could sell it. Hikdisha mukdash, he could makdish it. Shachto, if he slaughtered it, or Nasa Matar, he gave it away. Masha Asasi, what's done is done. right? He did it before it was taken to court. Misha Ahmed Bedin, once they were in court, Machri can't sell it anymore because now it's Meshubah to the Nizik, even if you hold like Rabbi Shmuel. Hikdisho ain't a Mukdish, it's not Mukdish because it's already belongs to the Nizik or Meshubatim. Shachtu, if you slaughtered it or Nassim Batani gave it away, loss of Klum. It's meaningless. Now, Kidmu Balechovas, let's say somebody, there was a creditor involved too, Big Bio, and he collected it. Let's say besides the Mazik, the Nizik, besides the Mazik who owes the money now to the Nizik, there's also, the Mazik also has a creditor involved. There's another action of Big Bio. Whether the damage was done, whether the loan was outstanding before the damage was done or vice versa, loss below klum, it's meaningless. He can't take it away. The animal here, we're talking about a short time, is paid out of the goof of the animal. So therefore, as we'll see, even if the creditor was there first, right? The creditor was there first. But if the creditor was there first and took the animal, that animal is also obligated for the damage because the animal did the damage. You pay out of the goof of the animal. We're going to analyze all this in a minute. Mu'ed, let's say it was a shor mu'ed. Whether recorded or not. In other words, a mu'ed, how does the mazik pay? If the owner, the mazik's animal is a mu'ed, the animal itself is not obligated to pay the damages. Who's obligated? The owner out of all his assets. So therefore, if a mu'ed chizik, whether he went to court or didn't go to court, doesn't make any difference. Even if you went to court already and it's determined that the mazik, the owner, has to pay $1 million for the damage that he did, but it's not from the animal. So therefore, you could sell the animal, you could be makdish the animal, the mazik, let's say creditors came and took money. It's still sold. Whereas what they did is done. You can collect the animal. They took the animal. We don't care about the animal. All we care about is the obligation of the owner of the animal, who's a mu'ed, to pay his debt. Now we said over here that if he sold, it's sold. Going back to we're talking now again about the beginning. Ashor Tam Rashi says, if he sold, it's sold. What does it mean sold? For plowing, meaning it's only sold temporarily until it's adjudicated. Once it's adjudicated, that's the mocher, right? The mazik over here. What happened? He knows his animal did some damage, so he's going to try, like you said, to delay the judgment. So he didn't go to court yet. They didn't go to court. And meanwhile, he sold the animal. So what do you mean it's sold? It's sold permanently? No, because if it's determined in court that the animal actually did the damage, and he's a short time, you can collect from the animal itself. So it's only sold temporarily for plowing. It's only sold temporarily. Disho mukdash, mishum darbavu. When he buys it mukdash, it's not mukdash if it really goes to the nizik at the end. The answer is, just it's mukdash in the sense that you should give something to hegdish to get it out. Shachtu or v'nasam matana masha asa asui. Okay, so bishlam v'nasam matana masha asa asui. Okay, what he did means, okay, if you sold the animal meanwhile, you gave it away. Okay, so the other guy that you gave it to or you sold it to owns it until it's claimed back from him from the nizik. You can use it temporarily for plowing. Ela shachtu, we're assuming now that shachtu, if he sold it, if he slaughtered it, it's done. That's it. You can't do it. You can't collect it. Too bad. Meaning my animal, short time damaged your animal. I shechted it right away. So to get out of paying you, because we're assuming now that you can collect the animal it's alive. It's like why do you say shachtu that asa what he's done is done? It's finished. You're not going to collect. I'm sorry, take from the meat. What's the difference? Get paid from the meat. The Tanya, Chai, it says, what does the pasuk say? V'chotzu es ashor achai, v'chotzu es kas, v'gam es ha-meis yachatzun. V'chotzu es kaspo, v'es ha-meis yachatzun. Ashor achai, it says chai. That's only any elachai. Shachtu, if I shechta, how you can collect it to Talmud Lomer? Umachu es ashor mikol makom. You could sell anything. So why don't you pay from the dead animal, from the slaughtered animal? You're right. You would collect from the pashit. In other words, if my animal before it was adjudicated, I went and I shechted it. Okay, so what's done is not only that it was worth less now because it's slaughtered, and a live animal is worth $100 now. It's worth $90. So that's good. That's done. You can't do anything about that. But he can collect the $90 that the slaughtered animal's worth. What have I done here? My animal is now basically is a pledge or secured to you to pay for the damage that I've done. And I damaged that animal. It was worth $100,000 worth. Punter, I don't have to pay for that because I've damaged your security. I haven't really destroyed. I've hurt it in some way. I'm putter. I haven't damaged you directly. I've damaged your security, right? Because at this point, before the animal is adjudicated, even according to Akiva, that the nizik gets the animal, but he didn't get it yet. So I was masik your putter. So Gemara says, Pita, of course that's the case. What do I need? That's exactly what you just said. What's Rav Huna teaching me? It says, I haven't deprived you of anything. The animal's still here. I just took away its breath of life. The animal's still here. So there you say, if I damage your security, I don't owe you anything. But normally, maybe I should pay for, if I damage your security, I should have to pay. Kamashma don't say. Hanami Rabba Amra. Rabba also said, Rashi says that Rabba Adam Choshev. Look at Rashi, a few lines from the bottom. Adam Choshevu, may Adam Choshev could go Rabba Pachinan Kilu Ksiva Mishnah Babraisa. Rabba already said, let's say you have an IOU and I burn it, right? Putter, I don't have to pay. I haven't lost the money. I just burned the IOU, the paper, the loan document. Now the same. Again, there I could say I just burnt the paper. I didn't think. But let's say I did some physical damage. I dug pits or ditches or caves in your property. I think there I should have to pay because I've done damage, physical damage. That we don't say that. Because here I've done physical damage to your animal, to the animal's meshubah to you, right? We're not talking about I did damage directly to your property. I did damage just to your security. That's what he's teaching me. What's done is done, and you can't collect from that. The thing more it says, remember, if creditors came and took money, whether the loan was made before the damage or after, they haven't done anything with because you have to pay out of the goof of the animal. So if they did the damage before the loan took place, I understand nizak and kadmu. So the damage that my animal did took place before the loan that I took from you. Therefore, I can understand that you're second in line. But let's say I owed money to Yankel well before my animal did any damage. The Balchov should be able to come first. Why? Because in general we have a rule that even though there's two creditors, the first creditor has first dibs. If the second creditor grabbed it first, he keeps it. Even if the damage was done before I borrowed the money. So you might say that the nizik was in line to collect before my loan. If he took it, he should be able to keep it. If he went and took the money first, he can keep it. If there's two balachovs, I owed money to Yankel on Monday, and I owed Yankel to Yassel on Tuesday, and Yassel collected first. He grabbed it first. He's entitled to it. That's what we normally says. A machlokas about that. So you see over here that you can't do that. You can't collect. The second guy can't collect because you say over here the balchov can't collect the money. We can't determine the machlokas here about a later creditor taking money before, if he grabbed it before the first creditor. Maybe there it would work. He could keep the money. We don't give it to him, but if he took it, he took it. Shiny Hossam, it's different over here. In our case here, the Omer Lay, because over here the nizik can say even if you're the creditor, right? The nizik is fighting with the creditor for the money, right? So we say over here, if the creditor took it, he can't keep it. Why? Even if he was there first, he should be able to keep it, and even if he was there second, he should be able to keep it. No, he can't keep it. You know why? Because the nizik could say to the creditor of the mazik, even if you had it, wouldn't I be able to collect it also? The haitur, the asker, I'm going to get paid from the animal. Remember that the short time pays out of the goof of the animal. So the nizik could say to the creditor who took the animal, even if the creditor was there first, what's the difference? I'm getting paid from the animal. If the animal's in your possession or the mazik's possession, I'm still entitled to get paid of the animal. So what's the difference? It's not like a regular case. We have two creditors, one from Monday, one from Tuesday. So you say the one from Monday should get paid first, but if the one from Tuesday grabbed the money, it's grabbed. But over here, it's not going to help him because if the creditor took the animal, the nizik could still say, fine, so it was your animal that did the damage. What's the difference? I don't care who did. I don't care if it was the mazik's animal or your animal. This animal did the damage, and I'm getting paid out of the damage of the out of the goof of the animal. So I'm entitled to take the money. Therefore, that's what we say that in the case of the short time that did the damage before they went to court, right? Whatever he did is done. Mishama Badin, you can't do anything really. You can't do it. And if a chov came and took it, you can't do anything about it. As opposed to a mu'ed, where you don't collect from the animal, you collect from the owner. So whatever he did with the animal, we don't care. If you sold the animal, gave it away, you had other creditors, we don't care. You owe the money out of your assets, period. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's a muad.
Yeah.
Then you can pay for it nothing.
That not only can, he must. He must. He can do whatever he wants. He can sell the animal, he can do whatever he wants with the animal. That's right. It won't help him. That's right. All right. Have a good day.